Well, I think the word that comes to my mind is I'm surprised. I'm surprised that we haven't been on this journey. I'm surprised that we hadn't been told earlier. But in saying that, a decision has been made by the state government. They are legislatively able to make that kind of decision. And I guess now, the first thing I would ask is that the state government visits Toowoomba as soon as they possibly can to give myself and my colleagues and this community an update on where we are. Who's there? Look, I think I'm pretty busy at this point in time. I've got a fair few things to do, but look, I'm quite surprised by it. We've been on this journey for quite some time, and as you would all know, on the 8th of February I brought in a number of people who have an interest in health in this area, like the hospitals and the business community. We went in there to make sure, they came to my room to give me an idea of how they saw the future if we had a hub. Now, as a result of that meeting, there were 22 questions sent on the 11th of February to the state government, and we wanted answers to those. We have not had a reply except the normal traditional thank you, Paul, for your letter.
Paul, how did you find out about the announcement this morning, and sort of what does the morning look like since that point?
Well, I had a lovely morning at the mayoral prayer breakfast in Oakey, and I was driving back, and I had a phone call to asking me from one of the economic development groups in Toowoomba, asking me if I was invited to the press conference. Now, I said, what press conference? And they explained the press conference, and I happen to know a lot of things about the future of Toowoomba, some very exciting prospects that are coming our way, industry that's coming our way, and I naturally assumed that's what it was. But I did ring the local federal member. He gave me the heads up, and then of course when I got back to my office, my staff had been watching the TV, watching the announcement, and it was very, very clear that we had been bypassed in the conversation, and now we are having a quarantine facility being built here. On the other side of the coin, I think there's a few things I need to say. Firstly, I clearly understand the concerns there are of many people in the Toowoomba area. You've only got to switch the TV on. Today there's in excess of 1,000 COVID infections in New South Wales. So COVID has the capacity to spread very quickly. And I think anyone in Toowoomba who hears this news naturally would have some concerns about that. The other thing I suggest to you is that it will bring some economic benefit to Toowoomba, and there'll be some people who are certainly looking forward to that. But in saying all of that, I think it is disappointing to me that we weren't brought on this journey. There's an awful lot of things about the future of Toowoomba that I cannot tell you people, and there's some exciting things out there. And I think I would have been really pleased if we'd had an opportunity to share that, to go on the journey and understand just exactly what the state government had in mind. On the other side of it, of course, the federal government... You want me to stop for a while? On the other side of it, I think there's a fair game of politics being played here, and that's the sort of thing I try to keep away from. One of the things I do want to say is that our hospitals in Toowoomba, and we're very, very thankful that we have, and the Darling Downs Health doing the job they're doing, St Andrew's Hospital, and of course St Vincent's Hospital, great hospitals, and they're working well over 100% capacity now. And there's been times when I've been told some days they go to about 140% of their capacity is being used on that very day. So I think it's a time when we should remember that, when we should also go back to the state government and say, hey, you really need to build us a hospital that will do what we need to do in Toowoomba. Toowoomba always has been a health hub, and I think if they don't do something about it soon, we'll lose our capacity to service the people we've been servicing.
This will open facility at the end of the year. After that, are you concerned for the health of Toowoomba residents in the greater region?
Look, I think it's far better to have a hub of similar to Howard Springs, and I think there's been no outbreaks from Howard Springs, and you know, that sounds good to me. That's better than having a CBD hub in Brisbane in a hotel facility that's not set up for it. So there's all that on one side. But look, I think the biggest thing that's in my mind at the moment is the failure of the state government to bring this community on this journey.
Construction's already started. Is this something they need to get approval for prior to starting, or is it just something they can get cracking on whenever they want?
Well, the state government has the capacity to overrule anything that we do in terms of planning and permitting those things to happen. And I imagine that's what's happening. Previously, I was briefed, and the thing that we would be doing when it came to the previous proposal would be to licence the plumbing. So, you know, we're not big players in this at all. But I think the way the whole thing happens, to me, as a long-term, long-serving local government person, there's been a real lack of respect to this community and to myself personally for me not knowing. Because if they wanted to have a chat to me, as I said, I'm holding many things in my head about the future of Toowoomba that I won't be sharing with anybody.
What's your message to people in your community who are going to be quite concerned about this news today?
Well, I think they need to be heard. I hope the state government is prepared to listen to some of the concerns of Toowoomba, but I'd suggest also to them that it's too late, that this will happen. And, you know, it may be a good thing for the economy in Toowoomba, but let's hope that there's no outbreaks, that there's no problems with it, and let's hope that it's done well. Oh, look, absolutely. I think this will bring a real awareness of the issues there are around COVID-19. You've only got to turn on the TV. Today there's over 1,000 in New South Wales. I don't want to be part of that. Nobody wants to be part of that. So get your jab, get onto it as quickly as you can and get it to happen. And I would hope the state government makes a deliberate attempt to ramp up the opportunity for people to get vaccinated here in Toowoomba.